Hey everybody, welcome to Santa Barbara Talks with Josh Molina. It's been a little bit since I've done one of these podcasts. I've been on vacation, hanging out in places with a lot of trees, as you can see. But I am back and I want to talk to you about big news going on at Santa Barbara City Council contests on both the East Side and the West Side. Council members Alejandro Gutierrez facing big challenge, and now Oscar Gutierrez over on the West Side also facing a significant challenge. First, if you're new to this podcast, please hit subscribe on YouTube and also visit santabarbaratalks.com and check out other content and consider a financial contribution to support my efforts. Okay, so here's the deal. Jett Black-Maertz has dropped out of the contest for Santa Barbara City Council District 1. She was first out. She was going to take on Alejandro Gutierrez, and she was going to be the alternative to Gutierrez, who she had labeled as being not as active in the contest, for being absent, and she was going to be the more authentic candidate representing the East Side. She has dropped out, and it's huge, huge blow to Councilmember Alejandro Gutierrez's re-election campaign. And you may be wondering, well, what if the opponent is out? Why is that a huge blow? It's a huge blow because there were three candidates in this race. There were Alejandro Gutierrez, there's Jett Black-Maertz, and there still is Wendy Santamaria. Wendy Santamaria is a very formidable challenger to Alejandro Gutierrez. She is endorsed by the Santa Barbara County Democratic Party. She's endorsed by SEIU, cause. There's a lot of momentum behind her campaign. If you are somebody who wants stronger tenant protections for renters, if you're somebody who wants some sort of rent control passed, Wendy Santamaria is the candidate that you are going to vote for. And she's not shy about saying that. She's been very focused. She has a strong message. But the apartment owners, the real estate community, they do not want to see rent control. And so they do not want to see Wendy get elected to this seat. They would like to see Alejandro Gutierrez reelected because she has not supported rent control. And it's a huge thing. Jett Black-Maertz being in that race would have met two challengers for Gutierrez. And in district elections, we don't have a huge turnout in these districts. What it means is these challengers would have split votes, which would inevitably have benefited the incumbent. So now if Jett Black-Maertz is out, it becomes essentially a one-on-one contest. There could still be somebody emerging, but someone coming forward this late may not have been the strong challenge that someone like Jett Black-Maertz was. So we have what is shaping up to be a one-on-one contest between Wendy Santamaria and Alejandro Gutierrez, which is very dangerous for the incumbent. We just saw this in the first district in the Santa Barbara County Supervisors Contest. Doss Williams, not reelected. It was a one-on-one contest, and there's a million reasons why he lost. I've talked about them, but had there been a third person in that contest, he would have been reelected, hands down, because when you have multiple people competing, the person with the current power, the current stature, the incumbent generally gets reelected because those challengers are trying to message about how the incumbent is not effective while they're taking votes away from themselves. So Jett Black-Maertz is out, and I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about that. I really like Jett. I met her. I had a podcast with her. I think she would have been a great city council member. She's, I want to say moderate because that's almost an insult, I know, to Democrats and liberals. But she would have been sort of the middle ground voice between Gutierrez and Wendy Santamaria. And for somebody who wants somebody like that, she would have been great. But I talked to her, and I thought that I was very impressed by many of the things she said on the podcast and in the times that I have met with her. But this is a big blow because everyone else sort of feels that way. Everyone sort of feels like Jett would make a good council member, but she sort of got caught up in this whole political vortex of who should be the anointed one. So I want to read to you her email. The local political powers have determined that I am not the right person to represent the first district at this time. So that is very clearly saying that power brokers have basically said, we don't want you to run, because if you run, you're going to split the vote. And that means Oscar Gutierrez is going to get reelected. She goes on to say, Jett Black-Maertz, well, I would like to say I am stepping back to support one of these candidates. I cannot in good conscience do so, as neither has demonstrated the skills, drive, or knowledge necessary to represent the district effectively. There are many unmet needs on the East Side that must be discussed, and many voices that need to be heard. Damn, that is, wow, that is a strong email. Now, granted, this email went out to, I believe, her supporters, potential fundraisers. I got it as a member of the media. Jerry Roberts and I are putting together this candidates forum that we're going to do in partnership with TVSB. And so I reached out to her to confirm. I didn't hear back, so I reached out to her again, and then I got this email. So it might have been I was on the list for that purpose. I don't think she was sending it out to the world, but she was sending out to key people who she thought she should know. So that's really a strong email, because usually when people step out, they're like, and I want to support this person. Okay. So she's basically saying she still doesn't like either of them. It's interesting because she's going to try to get the endorsement of the Democratic Party, because she also says in the email she's thinking of running for Santa Barbara City College Board of Trustees. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works, because the party likes to be on a slate, and they don't want candidates who are not supportive of one another out there canvassing and walking. And so if you're Jett Black-Maertz, you kind of have to like support Wendy, who's the Democratic Party's candidate, whether you want to or not. It's just one of those things you do. You just smile and grin and bear it, and support them, and you'll get your support back. And it is what it is. And some people don't like to do that. They have too much pride. But if you're going to be in public office, the whole thing is about negotiation. It's about compromise. It's about shaking hands. You have to do business with people you don't like all the time, constantly. If you only do business with people you do like, then you don't really get elected or stick around very long. It's just part of the nature of the deal. And so anyway, that's a situation that's going to have to resolve itself. But the big news is Jett was first out. She was the one who was going to run and win, challenge the incumbent, possibly win. And now Wendy Santa Maria and the huge energy behind her campaign has sort of taken over that place. And Jett has to figure out where she's going to land. And so that is pretty significant. I know Oscar Gutierrez feels very strongly about getting reelected. She is going to get a lot of money from the real estate people, and people are behind her because they don't want to see rent control. But in my years of covering politics, I don't think it's going to be super easy. She's going to have to raise a lot of money, and she is going to have to work hard. And by hard, I mean knock, 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 knocking on doors. You cannot take anything for granted. Das Williams, he's the elected official, has knocked on more doors than any other elected official in this town in probably history. Hard worker, super reelected, or reelected very strongly over the years, and then he decided not to campaign as well, and he lost. So Oscar Gutierrez is not that, and she's going to try to get reelected. The party's not helping her. She won by 8 votes the first time. I don't care how you cut it. The party's support of her back then won her the contest. Like, it was absolutely essential. Without that, that's 8 votes, right? So whatever. She's gonna have a master plan. She'll figure it out, and maybe come November, she'll be like, "You're wrong, Josh." Okay, And again, it's not like I don't think Alejandra should win. I'm not saying that at all. I'm talking about the analysis, the politics of it. I've seen these things, and I feel like Wendy Santa Maria is trending really well in terms of what people are talking about out there. But I know it's also July, so anything can happen. All right, so On the other side of town, on the west side, Oscar Gutierrez finally has an opponent, and this is a very big deal. Martial arts sensei, dojo instructor, Tony Becerra is running for the city council seat on the west side. This is incredible because no one thought Oscar was going to have an opponent. Tony Becerra was Oscar's sensei. Okay. He's been to that dojo, right? He has spent time in there learning forms of martial arts. He knows him. Okay. So we've got, sometimes you have the student challenging the teacher. You have the teacher challenging the student, and it's amazing. Okay. So that's big news. What this means is Oscar has not faced a challenge since the first time he was elected when he was running for the open seat, Michael Vidal. And well, here's the thing about Oscar. Very nice, very likable. People really like him. He shows up for everything. He's all over social media. He's posting events around town. He's showing up at things. He's very likable. Not a lot of people are going to be saying negative things about Oscar Gutierrez, at least, in public. They're like, he's a good guy. So he's got a real big advantage there because he's been present. But here's the thing. The real estate people are firmly against this rent control issue. And so they do not want to see Oscar get reelected or any candidates who've already said we support a form of rent control. And so how much money are they going to pour into this? How much are they going to campaign? And are they going to make a serious run to oust Oscar? And the answer to that is yes, they are, because Tony Becerra is well known on the West Side. Generations of families have walked through his dojo and they know him. So if you're somebody who's like, yeah, this guy was good to my kids, good to me, you're going to vote. But at the same time, Oscar grew up in that community and people know him. So that's still a very significant hill to overclimb. And in these district elections, it's really about relationships, and then some money on the side can help put you over the top if it's a close contest. So this is a very big deal. What this also means, this goes back to District 1 and Council Member Alejandro Gutierrez. What this means, this is going to force the Democratic Party to spend more time and more resources in Oscar's district on the West Side, which will pull people from the East Side. So the party's only going to have so many volunteers. There's a lot of stuff on the ballot. And so if you had all of those volunteers just focused on District 1, and now you're going to say, oh, we got to focus over here on the West Side, that is straining services and straining resources. Sorry. So that's a significant deal. So this shakes up everything in terms of what's going to happen. Alejandra kind of does not benefit from Jett Black-Maertz dropping out, but she does benefit from the fact that there is an opponent on the West Side, and on the West Side. And also Oscar has not supported Alejandro Gutierrez. He has not endorsed her. So they're not going to be kind of working together on this. So it is a big deal. And what this means is a very exciting Santa Barbara City Council election this year. I don't even know if anyone's going to challenge Michael Jordan on the Mesa. It's possible. He's kind of got things figured out there. He's a Democrat, but the conservatives like him to some degree. Democrats aren't super happy with him, but they're kind of happy with him. Happy enough, and as sometimes happy enough is passable. So that's the situation there. But if they decide to if the real estate people decide to run somebody on the Mesa, that's further gonna stress everything out. And the party, let's be real, is in sort of a transition phase. They're sort of having to refine their footing after the epic Dos Williams defeat. And what that means in terms of their power and their effectiveness. They're still very powerful. They're still very effective. Any candidate who's a Democrat wants to be endorsed by the Democratic Party because you just get so much in-kind resources. But as we know, it's not a 100% guarantee at all. And if the real estate people are putting money behind these other candidates, oh baby, it is going to be a huge fight all the way up until the end. So a couple of little scoops there. Jett Black-Maertz out of the contest. Tony Becerra in over on the west side, taking on his former student. And all this is going to play out, right? You know, here on Santa Barbara Talks. I'll have stories in Newshawk. Jerry Roberts, my podcast partner, and I will be talking about it on Newsmakers with JRN. We're doing a forum, and we'll probably be doing more than one coming up on this election season. Okay. Don't hesitate to email Josh at santabarbaratalks.com. Again, visit YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe. Visit santabarbaratalks.com and consider a financial contribution. I'm doing this at 7 in the morning today because I've got a busy day of other journalism work ahead of me. So that's all. Thank you. Have a great day.